Hey, Godfather of Anxiety here. I just wanted to do a short video on, I think, an understated symptom of anxiety that even will affect you as you are recovering, and something that you need to kind of plan for even throughout recovery and after you've recovered. And that is extreme exhaustion. So there's tired, there's normal tired, there's the tired we all feel after we've done a lot, maybe physically, or, had a draining day at work where we've, had to deal with a lot of maybe external stress, etc., etc. And then there's the type of exhaustion that you feel when you will have untreated anxiety disorder. And this is complete nervous system shutdown. So you'll get this with depression as well. And a lot of the times, guys, we're going to experience both of these things at the same time. If we're untreated, we're going to have either generalized anxiety disorder and depression, or panic disorder and depression. One of these anxiety spectrum disorders along with depression, and you are going to feel so exhausted that, you could almost experience what the kind of exhaustion you'd feel with chronic fatigue syndrome or something like that. It's going to be really bad. So, and to give you an idea of what it's like, I don't know if you guys ever watched those interrogation shows, but when they catch a perpetrator and he knows he's caught and they bring him into the interrogation room, a lot of the time they will fall asleep in the interrogation room. And this is complete nervous system shutdown. And this is what you experience when you are battling anxiety all the time. So I've told you guys too, and you guys probably know this if you have one of these conditions, the same chemicals that are being released to our bodies, they're the fight or flight chemicals, right? So you're ready for fight or flight, and when there isn't something to fight or run from, or if this is happening on a daily basis like it does with panic disorder and generalized anxiety disorder, you're going to feel exhausted all of the time. I know that when I was untreated for those 6 years, when I would go to work, drive to work, be at work, those things would feel like, I was in a life or death situation all day. And then when I got home, exhausted isn't the word. Just literally no energy for anything. And, this is something that goes on even throughout recovery. You're going to have to plan for this, and you're going to have to allow for this. And this is not, for those who are maybe watching for a loved one, this is not, your neurotypical type of tired, as I've stated previously here. This is just exhaustion, just complete pass out exhaustion. Sometimes you are able to fall asleep from it. Other times you just lay there incapacitated from it. And when it's untreated, you can literally just be incapacitated for a day or days on end from it. Because that's all of the adrenaline that's being dumped. That's what happens after an adrenal dump. You will be incapacitated. Your body was never intended to stay in fight or flight on any type for any length of time. This is a built-in survival mechanism that's gone haywire in people with anxiety spectrum conditions. Generalized anxiety disorder, panic disorder, depression also will have those chemicals being released. It's no fun, and it's really, really difficult to deal with. So I was just going to give you guys some pointers, some quick pointers on this. First of all, obviously, number one, always get treatment. So if you haven't been treated and you're having fight or flight followed by exhaustion, get yourself to a mental health professional. You may need pharmaceutical intervention. It may just be something you can treat with therapy. Either way, number one, get treatment. Number two, the big three. Get your sleep, or at least try to. quality and quantity. Also, exercise. Exercise will help you have a normal tiredness instead of, it'll also help lower that anxiety. And again, if you're not treated, these things are really hard to do until you get treatment. But so sleep, exercise, and then diet. You don't want to, be controlled by food, self-medicate with food, because we tend to eat a lot of carbohydrates, right? That's the comfort food. Oh, carbs, carbs, carbs. And when you do that, and I'm not telling anybody how to eat, but when you do that, it spikes the insulin. It'll give you that comfort feeling, and then it'll be gone, and you'll be right back to square one. And you will feel exhausted. That will amplify the exhaustion as well. Trust me, eating a lot of carbs, eating especially refined sugar, the real sweet insulin spike stuff, this is definitely going to make you more tired, not less tired, So those are the first two things. And another thing that I find really important, and this is as you're recovering, right? As you've gotten treatment and you start to recover, this exhaustion is still going to be there, because anxiety doesn't just go from up here where you're being chased by a bear or in a life or death type, your anxiety's in a life or death, fight or flight state, to being completely gone. I mean, for some people that does happen, but it's by far the exception. You have to work through these things as you're recovering. So a lot of the times, frequently, we'll get a medication that brings our anxiety down. Then we do our cognitive behavioral therapy, right? To and in addition to exposure therapy. But exposure therapy, by its very nature, you're exposing yourself to your triggers, right? So you're going to experience anxiety with this, and then the accompanying exhaustion. So, and that's why I did this video, because if you know you're going to be doing some exposure therapy, okay, you have a day trip planned, right? And you know it's going to raise your anxiety, but you know you have to do it because you want to get better. Well, have a day off planned after this. I still do this. I still have a day off planned. If I know I'm going to be doing something, whether it's on vacation or whatever, that I know is going to raise my anxiety. And, this is 21 years. And, I'm in a pretty good state of recovery right now. But I still always allow for myself to have a day after I know I'm really stretching out. Whether it's I know I have to drive quite a distance, or I know I'm going to be in an environment with a lot of people, anything that's way out of the norm, I already know, give myself a day. And if it's enough, sometimes I'll have to take 2 days just to get my nervous system back down and to get the sleep that I need to recover, for my nervous system to recover. And this is after 21 years. So that's something that can get really crazy if you start adding things together. Now you want to build up. You want to build up and expose yourself to more and do more as you're recovering. But when it comes to this exhaustion, at least for me, it's something I still have to deal with periodically. Now, if I'm really rolling good, it's almost not a consideration. If my sleep is good, if I'm rolling good with my exercise and my diet's on point, I can do quite a bit. I can, one day we're going to do this, the next day we're going to do that, and then I don't have to plan it out. Or we're going on vacation and I come back, I just take, maybe a half a day or a day. I'm right back to, but anxiety, at least for me, it goes up and down. And I always like to have a buffer in there. I always like to have a day planned where I can recover, where I can decompress. And that's part of my existence. I know it and I plan for it. And I wanted to make sure that you guys know that it's normal to still battle this extreme exhaustion as you're recovering. You'd like to think that, no, that I don't have to deal with that anymore. And some of you may not. So I'm not saying this is how it's going to be for all of you guys. But when you are stressed, especially to the fight or flight level, but even after you get treatment, that during your exposure therapy, you're still going to be pretty, your nervous system's going to be pretty taxed. Make sure that afterwards you allow yourself to be able to fully recover and allow your nervous system to recover. And normally, once you guys are doing good, once you guys are on a good treatment plan and you're doing your therapy and you're getting better, one day I always find usually is enough for me. As long as I have that day where I know afterwards I'm going to be able to recover, to rest and recuperate, or at least not have anything on the docket. Because sometimes on those days where my nervous system's recovering, it's all about exercise. I'll do a type of exercise that's almost relaxing. And it helps me to decompress further. But it's just really important to know what helps you and your nervous system to get reoriented and to decompress. So whatever activity you guys have, make sure you give yourself a day to do that after you're going to stretch yourself out with exposure therapy, or you're going to have some time where your stress is elevated, and it will really help mitigate that extreme exhaustion that you feel, and you'll be back and you'll be ready to go for your job, for your family, for things like that. And as you get further and further down the line of recovery, it won't be as much, At first, you might have to have a day after some smaller things, things that aren't that big, because at first, you're still stretching out, just doing your regular, everyday things. But as time goes on, that will be, those things will turn back into everyday events, going shopping, going to work, and you're not going to need a recovery day for those things. But you will still, and at least this is my experience, if you're going on vacation or you're stretching out, maybe you're flying, maybe you're driving long distances, when somebody that has these anxiety spectrum conditions does that, once they return back to, regular life, they may need a day or two for their nervous system to recover and recuperate. And I thought I'd share this tip, and just for those of you who maybe think, am I ever going to not feel tired again? It will get better, but make sure you're getting your sleep. Make sure you're getting your exercise, which might seem like, well, if I'm tired, why do I need to exercise? No. You need to do the stuff that, is good for the nervous system. And it's going to be sleep, diet, exercise. Those are really big. Obviously, make sure you're taking your medicine the way that if you are prescribed medicine, the way the doctor says. And finding whatever helps our nervous system to relax is so important. For me, I find that exercise is paramount. If I want to feel better, to get myself to decompress, to get my nervous system to come down, exercise is a huge part of it. Obviously, sleep. I couldn't emphasize that enough to you guys. So I just wanted to do this short video. Again, thank you guys so much for the support of the channel. The comments have been great, and I'm so thankful for people tuning in, because I feel like it's helping people. And that was the whole point of me doing this channel, was to help people who maybe don't realize what's going on, or who know and feel like they're the only ones. Well, the channel is, I think, serving its purpose and helping you guys realize that you're not alone. We all of us who deal with anxiety spectrum conditions, whichever one it is, and deal with depression, we're all in the same boat, and there's millions and millions of us out there. So again, just thanks for the engagement. If you know anybody who's going through this, tell them about the channel. Like, share, subscribe, and until my next video, guys, take care.